Okay, my name's Tim Platt. We're at the Mid Wales Arts Centre and Gallery in Carsws in Powys, right in the centre of the country. And I've been lucky enough to, and honoured really, to have the first exhibition in a brand new gallery for the last 3 weeks. And all sorts of people have come from all over the country, friends, relatives, acquaintances, people I was at college, university with years and years ago, have all come, and it's been marvellous. Well, I have had exhibitions before, but they've always been part of a course or a training that I've been doing, usually would culminate in an exhibition. So I've had a couple or three in the past, but I didn't ever imagine I would have one on such a large scale. But I also never imagined I would have one in my current circumstances in life. At the age of 60, and that half of the exhibition would be talking about my illness and my pathway there. But interestingly, the whole thing has been inspired by that and has a lot of elements in the work related to living with cancer, dealing with cancer, and a lot of the scientific implications of that, because I've also found it fascinating to see how they go about caring and treating people in those circumstances. Very often a retrospective is done for an artist after they've passed on and gone, and a big gallery will, call in all the works they possibly can of a famous artist and have a retrospective of all their work that they can lay their hands on and do that. This is a retrospective that's being done by me, and that also has a poignancy. I had this plan in mind that I even wrote it in my will that when I was gone, that my wife and family and friends would get together and put this exhibition on of my work. It's a bloody great ego trip there, but a lot of my friends said that's ridiculous. How can those people know what your real intention was or how you really would have wanted that exhibition to be? You need to do it before you are gone, so long as you've got the strength to do it. And because of the tremendous treatment I've had, I am able to do it. If you'd asked me 3-4 years ago whether that would have been possible, I wouldn't have thought it was, you see. And 5 years on, I'm still here. I've had a lot of chemotherapy and it's working very well, and I'm a relatively well person in so many ways. I don't think it was also just for me, because every time I go to the chemo centre we're all in it together, and I'm sure on other occasions there are other patients with milestones. I think there's other patients there who have had more than 100 cycles, and I'm sure the nurses celebrate with them too, and it helps inspire the other patients in the room, and it also helps the nurses, I think, feel their achievement is worthwhile. Yeah, it's a very special. It was fired in a wood-fired kiln. That's the colour of the clay normally. But I know they enjoy coming or doing things together, partying a bit, which helps them get through their daily work. And I'm really excited about them seeing the work. I'm not going to harp on about the cancer too much because they hear about that and do that all the time. I just want them to see that what they've done for me has created something marvellous here.
It's good. I think it really sort of encapsulates his journey as well, because of what he's been through, and we're fortunate to have known him for a long time as his nurses, but
You're fortunate.
we're a bit more than just nurses, we're friends as well.
He's part of the team.
But, yeah, absolutely, and he's larger than life, so this is kind of what we expected, and it's just great.
It is
really
good.
It does, yeah.
Your good humour is half of the cure.
Well, I think
And
that's
the treatment for people is they look forward to coming to see you guys.
Yeah.
They get upset when they finish
when
their
they finish their
treatment. To
treatment.
be
Oh, you
fair,
get
they
there and,
think,
isn't Von here today?
Yeah.
Or you know,
like our chemo family, isn't
They
it?
think of us a little bit as their safety curtain, don't
Yeah,
they? They
yeah,
do. That's
absolutely.
that we've used that an awful lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're a really good example for us to set to other people as well, you know, who are just starting on this. And, you know, one of the questions is, will we be on this for a long time? I say, well, we've got Tim who's been on this.
we're trying to get rid of him, but he keeps coming
No,
and annoying us every
It's
week.
brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just another way of just trying to give confidence to people going through this awful thing, isn't it?
Well, there's a number of pots that I've always been very, very proud of. There's a particular blue bowl in the exhibition that everybody zones in on and says that's absolutely wonderful. And it always was when it came out of the kiln at Derby College. Goodness knows, 1982. I was only 20 years old, and the kiln had made the pot beautiful, not really me. It was a wood-fired kiln that creates incredible effects if you're lucky. And this was a very lucky moment, and that pot is the one that everybody zones in on. Kathy, the owner of the gallery here, when she came to see me, immediately zoned in on that pot too. And it's a beautiful piece, and I'm very proud of it. A lot of the sketches on the wall of walks that I did in the Welsh countryside also mean a lot to me. I can still remember the walks I did, and the very moment I found a sheep bone on the ground and just was very moved at the whiteness of it against the green grass. At the same time, I was also thinking about how many battles had been fought on Offa's Dyke, and to find this white bone there was meaningful to me. And I took the idea back to college down in London and did some nice sketches and further work, etchings and things like that out of that experience. In the last 18 months, because I knew I wanted to do this exhibition, but also because I was asked to shield during the pandemic. I had an awful lot of chances to work on my ideas that perhaps I would never have had in the past. The plastic medium was what I was working in. For the main reason is that I cannot work with clay very much anymore, because the chemotherapy damages your fingers, dries them out and cracks them, and working with clay is very difficult. So I've gone back to a material I worked with at university back in the 80s, which is adhesive tapes, coloured tapes, sellotapes, and I wind them around themselves just to make very interesting little jewel-like objects. And finally, the exhibition is called Curtains, because I also spent a lot of time in the last few years collecting the sleeves that I have to take off my stoma bag every time I replace it. And I found that these transparent, translucent sleeves, when they cross over each other, make beautiful petals, flower shapes, and they have a translucency, even though they're just bits of plastic that would normally get thrown away thoughtlessly by all of us, can have a quality that is artistic to them and a meaning to them. And I'm trying to express to people that plastic isn't necessarily a bad thing as an overall statement. So much plastic keeps people alive, especially in the medical situation. I think most people get it because, as we all know, laughter is actually the best medicine. And I experience every fortnight the marvellous atmosphere at the chemotherapy centre at Shrewsbury Hospital where I go. And it's strange to say, but I look forward to going there and being with the people there, because everyone tries to have a good, cheerful, jokey atmosphere, and the odd pun and a bit of black humour helps the place and is equally as important as the medicines and the work they're doing. The nurses and the staff there constantly remain cheerful with the patients and with each other, and that's so important. My illness will get worse. I am terminally ill. I am diagnosed with lymphoma, which is a incurable condition. It's controlled and modified by the chemicals. And of course there will come a time when I can't work. I can't perhaps keep up the good humour about it all. But I've left a bit of a legacy now of this period of health and cheerfulness within the illness that I'm hoping into the future will inspire people to see that all is not lost when the doctor turns to you and tells you your circumstance. All is not lost. Everyone, in their own individual way, can find a way through it, if they are lucky enough, like me, to be relatively well for a period during their treatment. The one particular medicine I'm on that is very expensive, and we're very lucky to have a health service that can provide that for us, is still experimental. And I was told when they first prescribed it to me that the average lifespan on that particular chemotherapy was 5 years. I've been on it for 5 years now. The law of averages tells you that there must be people who live longer than 5 years on it. So luckily I'm heading towards being one of those people, and maybe another couple, 3, even another 5 years on it will keep me going, and that's wonderful. And I'm extremely grateful to the world for giving that to me, and I see this exhibition as a way to pay that back. And like I said, if my story and the images from this exhibition can somehow share out into the world and help to inspire some other people in a similar situation or in another illness situation, that they realise, oh, now this is my chance to go and do that bit of art that I've been putting off for years and years and years, just because I want to, because I need to. Yeah, the key word to that is time. The implication, just for instance, in those curtains made from the stoma bag covers, is each one of those covers, in my memory, is a different event, because every time you change the said device, it's under slightly different circumstances. Sometimes it's a disaster, sometimes it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you wake up in bed and you've got to go and do it. Other times it goes beautifully, perfectly, and everything's fine and you carry on with life. And the key to being in my situation is to notice the tiny differences in life day by day. Every time I make up my medicine tray and take my medicine, which I take 4 times a day, over and above my chemo, or change my stoma bag, or do one of the other multitude of things I have to do as part of my own personal care, I try to notice how different it is today from how it was yesterday. Just the tiniest minute difference makes life fascinating and interesting. And actually, when you learn that, all of us can apply that to every moment in life. And I think so many people are aware of that, but don't necessarily make it part of their consciousness. Perhaps that's an artistic experience, is recording the moment, recording a mood, recording an experience, a snapshot, as it were, of what's happening. But being given the diagnosis of terminal illness just makes you perhaps relax a bit more about anything else that goes wrong. It can't be quite as bad as that. So you just get on and you try and make life as pleasant as possible for yourself and your wife and everyone else around you, because they are treasured moments from now on, you know.